I wanted to talk a little bit about my reaction to this election, right? We're one day past this election, and I gotta be honest, like going into this election, I, more than just rooting for a particular candidate, what I was actually hoping for is a complete like condemnation of all of the hate and decisiveness that's been taking place in America. So now, like we're the next day after the election, we still don't have the definitive answer on which candidate won. But what I think we do definitively know is that like that just complete and total rejection of hate and divisiveness did not happen. And I was struck by that. I was impacted by that. Like that more than anything else, like that's what I wanted, because I want to live in a country, I want to live in a world, I want to live in a society where the desire to be good people overwhelms our desire to be politically appropriate. And I don't think that happened last night. It was so funny. So last night I was just like, you know, many people, I was watching the news and I was flipping back from one channel to another and watching them turn one state blue and one state red and one state gray and one state pink and all these things, and got to about 4 a.m. and I realized they are not going to be able to determine the winner tonight. Like it's gonna take a day or even more to determine a winner. So I start flipping through some channels. I start flipping through channels and I land on this movie called Escape from Pretoria. Never even heard of this movie. The only reason the movie caught my eye is, anybody who knows me knows I'm in love with the country of South Africa. Pretoria is in South Africa, so it just kind of piqued my interest. So I jumped on Google and I Googled the movie and find out it's a true story about these two white men in the 70s who joined the anti-apartheid movement, and they joined the African National Congress. If you're not familiar with the ANC, that's the group that Nelson Mandela was a part of, and he got put in prison for his affiliation with the African National Congress. And these two white men joined the African National Congress, and they got arrested for spreading pamphlets that were also anti-apartheid and got sentenced to 12 and 8 years in prison respectively. And the movie is about their escape from prison and the way that they escaped from prison and how they got out of South Africa and ended up in London and lived in exile, lived as fugitives until 1991 when they were pardoned. And it was a really cool movie. It was pretty exciting. But what it made me start thinking about is, in terms of the divisiveness and the hatred going on in America, I think what I learned last night is America hasn't learned anything. Like we're still, like the map as it was turning different colors in this election, like it's still the same colors that it was 4 years ago. Like we've been through a pandemic, we've been through civil unrest, we've been through racial oppression and have learned nothing. And I just sat back thinking about that and I was just thinking like, we're not gonna get anywhere until the unaffected are able to appreciate the stories and experiences of the affected. And I realized as I was watching this movie, Escape from Pretoria, it's so rare when a group that is associated with the unaffected, as the white people in apartheid South Africa were, it's so rare that the unaffected join the affected that when it happens, they make movies about it. And I think what I want to call you to do is let's normalize the unaffected communities listening to the affected communities. And it makes me have such a deep appreciation for the people in my life that are traditionally associated with being the unaffected, but have found a way to appreciate and even align with my story. There are people, there's a woman named Helen who works for me, and she's amazing. And I realize now, like she has decided to align herself with like a minority run company, and she is such an important cog in that machine. She's such an important part of what we do. Of course, I get to work with Adam Frower, who for 10 years has been my biggest ally. And he is a part of the unaffected, but because of his goodness, in fact, his greatness, he's able to listen and appreciate the stories of the affected. And I think that that's made such a big difference in my life. It's made such a big difference in my professional life. It made such a big difference in my personal life. I just come away from last night thinking, what we need to learn, and unfortunately I don't think we have yet, is the unaffected and the affected are one. And until we start appreciating that we are one community and one group, we're gonna continue to experience the things we've been experiencing for 4 years. And I hope we can start appreciating we are one. And I don't mean Democrat, Republican, I mean the people that are unaffected by certain things and the people who are affected. We're in one group, we're in one community, we're in one society, and we have to learn to appreciate each other's experiences.